They're interested in breaking English communities, changing English communities to fit their political model. They're using our housing estates, social housing estates, as bloody multi-culti leftist project areas.
This next speaker has been very, very well respected in nationalism, and he was the councillor for Stoke-on-Trent, where he was an absolutely fantastic councillor. Please welcome to the stage from Stoke-on-Trent, Mike Coleman.
Hello everybody. It's good to be in a room full of good people, good nationalists and good patriots. I'm honoured to be here before you. What will I be talking to you about today? It's something that's got under my skin and made me angry. So I'm going to be talking about that today. It's regarding a chance meeting with an old friend of mine. And by that, an old friend, I mean an old friend. I've known him since I was about that high. Went through junior school with him, high school, grew up with him. Fell out with him when I was about 16 or 17, when he got involved in politics, left-wing politics. I got involved in right-wing politics. He actually joined the Labour Party, and I joined the National Front. And I had an almighty bust-up with him over politics. I'm sure I'm not the only one in this room to have lost a friend through politics. But anyway, I lost a friend there. I bumped into him 3 months ago, and he had something to tell me. He's selling his house in Mere. That's where he was born and I was born, and he's moving out. That's an incredible thing. You're probably thinking, what the hell, so what? It's a big deal, because I won't mention his name, he was Mere born and bred. He was there for life, and he's moving out, right? And he's told me why. And he's told me why, because his house, his council house that he's bought and he's worked hard for, and his shitty little job, he's bought it. Directly opposite him is a block of flats. There's 270 flats in Mere, and regardless of all of his complaints and all the complaints of the neighbours, the council have gone and put another drug addict into those flats. And he doesn't want his children who remain with him in his house, he doesn't want his children or grandchildren seeing that. So he's selling up and he's moving out. That's an incredible thing. He's had enough. He's had enough. That's what he said. He's had enough. And another thing he said, just as he was leaving me, he says, "You were right all along." And that's incredible, coming from a Labour Party member who actually campaigned against me from becoming a councillor in Stoke-on-Trent. So that was a big deal for me, and it's got me thinking. So I've been thinking about that for 3 months, and I've come up with this. It's a cycle of decline. You will have seen it, but I've thought it through. It's a cycle of decline, and we discussed it briefly in the street. The council house allocation system is allocating houses on social housing neighbourhoods to antisocial people, right? Antisocial in every sense of that term. We've got private landlords who have contracts with the Home Office who are housing newly released prisoners, serious crimes, sex crimes, drugs crimes, onto housing estates where there are a large number of social housing properties. We've got charities, Christian charities, who are coming into our community, buying up houses because they're cheap, and placing said antisocial people into the community. Yeah? Have you seen that? Because that's what we are seeing. And I've been analysing it, I've been thinking about it, I've been fuming about it. It changes the estate. It comes to a point when this project has brought so many of those people onto the estate, a tipping point is reached. Because Mere was a decent place, it really was. 90% of the people in Mere, town in Stoke-on-Trent, are decent people. But part of the project, is what we're seeing, is that the Home Office and the council are and the charities, this dark force is using that estate as a project area. It is a project area, and they're putting these nasties, these uglies, onto the estate. And that is undermining the estate. It undermines the morale of the people who live there. The psychology changes. It goes from being our estate to being their estate. Yeah? Then a terrible process begins. People leave. People leave. The people who can leave, who've got money, the younger people who've got brass, can move. The older people can't. But as those people leave, what happens? More come in, because the housing allocation processes put those favoured minorities at the top. They're jumping the queue. They're jumping the people who should rightfully have those properties, people who are born and bred into that community. They should have those properties. No. They're giving those properties to drug addicts, refugees, and various ethnic minorities who've been moved onto our estate through various government programmes, dispersal programmes. It's devastating the community. It's a malicious attack. It's an evil attack upon our people. It's an anarchic, leftist, liberal, globalist attack upon the racial breeding grounds of the English people. Because you know what? They hate us. They hate us. It is an act of pure hatred against us. Yes? They call us racists. We can't hold a bloody candle to them people. Those people have sat down in the dark rooms and organised a project that's going to destroy us. We are the subjects of a genocide, people. We really are. I've looked further into it. I was a councillor in Stoke-on-Trent, so I know a little bit about it. What we've got in Stoke-on-Trent and the West Midlands is the West Midlands Core Spatial Strategy. Has anybody ever heard of it? No. You will have one where you live. It'll have a different name. Yeah. It is an evil outline of how they're going to do what they're doing. It's a public document, but it refers to documents that are not public. And it refers to how they're going to house ethnic minorities in your community, dispersed from London and the Birmingham area, because they want to create, wait for it, vibrant, multicultural, mixed communities. So this isn't part of some drift, some inevitable natural action where people come into our community. This is a plan, this is a plot, and it's against us. These people, these government ministers, high-ranking council officers, they're always talking about cohesive communities. It's a damn lie. They're not interested in cohesive communities, not when it's ours. They're interested in breaking English communities, changing English communities to fit their political model. They're using our housing estates, social housing estates, as bloody multi-culti, leftist project areas. Yeah, it's a plan. It's forced change. It's not sanctioned by the people. The people of Mere, Stoke-on-Trent, wherever you go in this country, nobody sanctioned it. When have you ever seen a Labour Party election leaflet espousing the virtues of flooding your community with foreigners? It's not there. It's a sinister, they work by way of deception. Yeah, they've got the media, and they've got the politics, and they've got the finance. And it's by way of deception that they're implementing this project. It's a criminal deception. Again, never been discussed in Parliament. It's not discussed in elections. The three major parties have come to agreement whereby they will not allow immigration or subjects such as this to become an issue during elections. That's decided before any major election. I don't know if you know that. That's the truth. Therefore, these projects are illegal. It's pure hatred. It's a traitorous enemy cabal. Been thinking about it. It's been going on since the Second World War, 75 years ago, when this current crowd came to power. A cabal, an amalgamation of interest groups, left-wingers, we've got globalists, Zionists, let's think about it, liberals. They all had one thing in common. They were global in their outview, and they hated nationalism. They hated nation states, and they hated intact racial groupings. And they're the people that I understand and that I have decided are responsible for these crimes. Just as he was leaving, my mate, he says, "You've got an opportunity." I don't know what he was talking about. I think I do. What he was saying was what millions of people are saying, is that they've sort of rumbled what's going on in this country on estates like me and 10,000 other estates just like it throughout the country, is people are beginning to identify, maybe not in a intellectual way, but in an instinctive way, they are beginning to identify that they don't like these changes, and they are beginning to back away from it. That's really enormous for people like us, because it means that the project's ugly. The project that's been implemented and imposed on us by these evil people who have hijacked our country is ugly, it is unpopular, it is unattractive. Exactly the conditions for us. Yeah. It's the early days of the decline of this evil regime that has taken a hold of the West. Very early days. But I can detect the way it's going, and it's going to go our way. We've just heard the organiser talking about people who've been imprisoned in this country. They're not being imprisoned for real world crimes. They've been imprisoned for thought crimes and speech crimes and daring to challenge. That indicates the sensitivity in this regime to challenge. You know why? Because it is weak. It is weak. It's weak and it can be brought down. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's weak and it can be brought down. Our people suffer every day. We've got grooming gangs, intimidation, bullying on the estates from minority, call them minorities, actually a majority in most cases. We've got terrorism, people being terrorised on our housing estates. It's a terrible, terrible thing that's happening to our people. Well, like my friend stopped me in the street. That's incredible, by the way, him stopping me in the street. We haven't talked for 30 odd years. Him stopping me in the street, that was a call.
Yeah.
A call, yes, a tentative call. Do you know who he's calling? He's calling us. He's calling us. You know why? Because we're genuine. Genuine people. We believe in the flesh, the blood, the bone, the land of our people. That's what these people are calling for, and there's millions of them calling out. They're being ignored by the mainstream politics and the mainstream media, but they are out there. So that's what I'm calling to you. I'm calling to, because we've been lazy. The right wing have been lazy, and that's what I've really come here to say. I hope that's not too controversial, but we've sat on our backsides for too long. Our people have been suffering. Our people have been calling us, and we haven't really been doing much. So what I want to say to the meeting today is, let's get united, let's get organised, let's get together, and let's start working for our people. Thank you.